Hey everybody, Steven here with Oddball Publishing. Today's video I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that you might have questions about if you are publishing for the first time with Kindle Publishing Direct. For those who have gone through the process with CreateSpace, obviously it's a little bit different. For those that don't know, because we published with CreateSpace first, that is an Amazon-owned company. Kindle Publishing is direct. Their pricing structures were different. You couldn't order author copies with Kindle Publishing Direct. You actually had to pay the cost of the book, right? So if you're selling it for 20 bucks, that's what it cost you, 20 bucks. CreateSpace was different. You could buy your books wholesale, all that other stuff. So essentially, Kindle Publishing Direct has absorbed CreateSpace. That way, Amazon isn't running two companies. They're housed under the one name, Kindle Publishing Direct, or KDP. Now with this, you can see our books here. We have kid books. We were with Ex Libra initially, and that's a scam. I'll do more videos on that eventually. Not worth it. Basically, if you're paying a ton of money to have somebody else structure and create your book, you're going to get ripped off. It's just the way it works. So with this, you're in control of everything, but that is also a bigger responsibility on your end because you know how you're going to need to know how to format. Depends on whether or not, like, ours are kids books, so we're doing color with bleed versus some people, they're just doing black and white. It's just text. They don't have any pictures. That's a little bit different, right? So regardless, if you have questions and in terms of running through the structure itself, it's pretty self-explanatory once you start in terms of, I'm going to create a new paperback or Kindle book, and then it's going to run you through everything. You have to upload the internal content of the book cover. You're going to do categories, all that other stuff. You're either going to get your free ISBN number from Amazon, or you're going to buy your own universal for $100, right? And we'll cover that more in depth at another point. But for right now, you've signed in, you want to create a book, but you have a bunch of questions and you don't know where to go. Community is the tab that you want to go to here. Now, once I'm here, I could search for something and hopefully somebody else has had an issue similar to mine and I might find something with that. You can also call the company itself. We've had issues before that took 3 months to take care of, which was a formatting issue on our part, but the lady I was speaking to, or actually I ended up calling multiple times, didn't know the answer. So it was this weird back and forth where they were telling us something was wrong, but they couldn't tell us what it was. Finally figured it out. But with certain issues like that, it is going to be better to call. You can also reach out to us. I've helped a guy out of Nevada and then a guy locally here that had some questions, and that's really why we make these videos now. But the big thing here is, yeah, you can search for that, account issues, bookshelf, all these other common issues. But if you click on KDP Community Guidelines, this is really where you want to go with a lot of these different issues, because over here on the side, this is where we can look at some things that typically are the main questions that people have. And this was easier to find and get to, and I hope they restructure the website because it was easier to find on CreateSpace. Orders, proof copy, author copies, and under here, sales, royalty, taxes. So royalties, sales reports, getting paid, tax information. You're going to have that, right? Report those sales stuff. Updating your book details, your manuscript, your cover, all these other things where you can look through some of this stuff. Getting started, prepare your book, publish your book, promote your book, tools and resources. This is really where you want to be, right? Royalties comes up quite a bit. Print pricing range. So I want to know And the way this works is they tell you right here, this is their royalty structure. 60% for standard distribution, 40% for expanded. Then it gives you all this other stuff. You can also download their calculator as well, which is what I've done. Expanded distribution tends to be harder for anybody that doesn't know. Like, if I pay for the ISBN number, I can get into that expanded distribution where you're looking at, all right, it's going to be on barnesandnoble.com. It's going to be Books A Million, wherever it may be, right? That you get a really little return on. Don't count on that being a huge source of income for you, especially if you're obviously self-publishing, because that's what we're talking about. But if you don't have the money to promote behind it, it's not something that they're obviously going to promote, right? You're going to have to be a little bit bigger of a name for that to happen. And at that point, the return on it is so small, I usually don't count on it. Now, Amazon and any services associated with that, Amazon in the UK, etc., that I'm going to look at more. And we haven't done it yet. We've talked about it, but you can actually pay for advertising on Amazon's website for that as well. We just haven't done it yet, haven't bit that bullet. There we go. And they have this here. I'm going to see if I can find the calculator. Because I've downloaded it myself. I might have to sift through. Here it is. How we calculate printing costs. Download. We'll do this again. I have to have Excel for this. Alright. Cancel. Make sure you can enable editing. Alright, so interior type. Is it black ink or color? Ours is a kid book. It's color. Number of pages. This next one is going to be close to 80. Channels, Amazon.com, right? That's where we are. We're not in the UK or anything like that. Anticipated price. We want to list it for $14.99. Done. This is where we run into trouble. This is where we look at expanded distribution and whether or not it's worth it to us. So CreateSpace took into account, which is what this isn't doing, and it was easier to do because it was embedded into their website where you could do it just right there. You weren't having to use Excel or anything like that. But bleed or no bleed, right? So are my images going to the very edge of the page, or is there going to be a white border around it, right? So bleed is when it goes to the edge. This is where we had trouble initially because we made the page a little bit too big in response to that bleed, hoping that it would cover it, and then it was too big, and they ran into a formatting issue. So you have to be spot on with that. Formatting is typically where everybody's running into trouble, right? You're doing that, or your text box isn't where it needs to be. So if that letter, right, that maybe the font's wild or whatever it would be, where you think it's within that, but maybe it's a letter where it kind of has a curve to it and it just barely goes to that line, like they're going to flag it, and they're going to say you need to bring in the text margins, right? Typically they don't tell you what pages either. I've noticed historically, I actually have to send an email back, or I have to call them and be like, all right, I'm not going to reformat the whole book. I need to know exactly which pages I need to mess with, and then they'll let you know. So I wish they would do better with that as well. Now it's been about 8 months, about 7 or 8 months since we did the last book, and we're formatting right now. We'll be submitting by the end of this month, so hopefully they've improved some things, but we'll see. But looking at this, printing cost $6.45, minimum list price. Now that is the minimum if basically we wanted to take any type of money home. I don't even know, that might be like a cent. We could check that here in a second. Amazon royalty, so if it sells on Amazon, we'll get $2.55. Expanded distribution, we would lose money. So two options with this that I can, well, multiple options, right? I can not choose to do expanded distribution with one variation of the book, and then I can do another one, submit everything exactly the same, opt into expanded distribution, but my price is higher. You're running two. With that, now running into risk because then it's going to list on Amazon twice, all these other things that can happen with that. You can list it for a little bit higher, but with these books, I mean, $15 for a kid's book, that's expensive already. And we know that, and trying to communicate that to people when we're like, man, we're local authors, this is just what we have to do, is a harder thing to do. And we put a lot of time and effort into the books to make sure that the images are, I don't know, on point. Like when we look at our images and we're dealing with our local artist, Zach Raw, we want to deliver something to the market that we're not seeing from anybody else. So we think they're very unique. And with that and his cost, he's putting a lot of time and effort into it. So that's another factor in our price as well. But if we could sell it for cheaper, we would. But this is one of the factors that goes into that expanded distribution, because we could bump the overall cost, and I could say it's $15.99, right? I don't know if that'll let me do it. So if it's $15.99, see, even with that, 6 cents, and it said it was 46 last time, right? So I got to keep going up, and you can find that sweet balance. 35 cents, 16.99, right? Our Amazon royalty went up a little bit, but that's what we deal with, and that's if it's 80 pages, and we're teetering close to that. It might be a little bit more. We don't know. One of the other things to consider, though, is, like I said, selling in an expanded distribution is really hard, so we don't typically sell anything there. So I might just forego that. Say I'm not worried about that. We'll worry about our side of hustling to make sure we promote the book locally and hopefully get it in other bookstores statewide if we can. That's one of the things that we would consider with this, and not counting on expanded distribution. Even now, if I set it at 35 cents, I mean, that's nothing. Like, we're not going to sell enough that, like, if we sold 10, $3.50, right? If we sold one Amazon, which typically people are buying from Amazon anyways. So those are things to consider with this. And black and white has an effect on it, right? Let's say it's black and white. And in this one, that's the other thing that they're not doing. They're not even asking us for the print size. That was a huge thing with CreateSpace. It would ask you the print size. Bigger book, more expensive, more paper. Smaller book, not, right? And let's say it's 200 pages. We're going to list it for $16.99. I mean, yeah, it changed it, but that's not huge just because we could sell this. Let's say $9.99. Boom. 200-page black ink book. And that's usually where people are going to do better if you have a novel with that. But we want to do kids' books. It's our passion. So something to consider with that. But this is usually where you're going, author copies, ordering those. And this is really going to walk you through all this stuff. Shipping offers, how do I order the copies, all that. This is going to answer your questions. And getting paid, sales reports, pricing and discounts, shipping rates, how many copies can I order. Like I said, this is really going to cover everything that you really want to know. And if you have something where you're having an issue, that's where the other page comes in handy. So you can actually just ask a question. Usually somebody will help you there. You can call. You can reach out to us as well. And hopefully somebody will eventually answer your question and help you out with that. So that is it. Hopefully this helps anybody that had questions with this. Like I said, we haven't done the promote yet. We do want to check into that. I think it's better to own the ISBN number. Personally, pay that $100 and they tell you where to go with that. It's another website that you essentially buy it and then it links to Amazon. Easy to do. But I also understand some people don't have that and they're really wanting to print this, and it's just a novel, black and white. They can buy it really cheap. It's 200, 300 pages, whatever it is, and they don't want to deal with that right now. That's fine. It will be an Amazon ISBN number. It'll be on Amazon. You cannot opt into expanded distribution when you do that, though. So with that, you are limited. But like I said, you typically don't sell a ton of expanded distribution. So for some people, that might be a good start. You could always resubmit later too, same book, and then opt into the expanded distribution. You have enough money, you buy your own ISBN number. So hopefully that helps. And like I said, this will be really the spot that you want to answer a lot of those different questions. So if you guys have any further questions and you want to reach out, by all means do that. I helped one guy for a couple months with one of his books out of Nevada, like I said, so I have no problems doing that. But if you guys like the video, hit the like button for us. If you want to continue to follow along with all of our content here at Audible, hit the subscribe button for us. Pumping out more content, have a bigger project in the works. I'm actually hoping to push towards and getting back into podcasting, which I did for 2 years with another project. Before partner had to stop, and then it just became too much for me to do it by myself. But I am hoping to do that now with Audible Publishing and reaching out to different authors, not only authors, but the amazing artists that I'm seeing on Instagram that we're following that do amazing work. And I selfishly want to talk with them about their craft, how they got into it, and just freelance, how they operate freelance, how they do all that, their style, everything like that. So hopefully we'll have big news with that coming in the next handful of weeks. We'll keep you posted on that. But like I said, thanks so much for watching. Check back soon for more videos.